I'd really love to present after Erwin, because he really describes pretty well what we are doing, kind of trying to innovate technology and find something that can change a difference in the world. So I appreciate the help of Autodesk in our innovation process. Who are we? Smart Hydropower is building a kinetic hydropower plant. What is that? A kinetic hydropower plant is working exclusively with the flow of the river. So a normal hydropower plant is always requiring damming. It needs infrastructure. What we are doing is that we only use the flow of the river. What kind of difference does that make? If you look at a normal large hydropower plant, this is something that not only requires infrastructure, but it's very difficult to build that in remote regions. And if you build it in remote regions, you will always have a strong environmental impact, a negative environmental impact. You are able afterwards to generate electricity at a rather low price, but up to that point, the environmental impact is rather strong, A. B, you will not be able to address large parts of the people needing electricity. You already seen the figure today, 1.4 billion people do not have any access to electricity. Not any access to electricity. The only way for them to get electricity is a diesel genset, which is rather expensive and which is environmentally not friendly. So we developed, together with Autodesk technology, this small hydropower plant. It's one unit, it comes plug and play, it consists out of a plastic floating body, and you put it into the water. You can do that with 8 people or with a small crane, and it starts generating electricity. It comes, as I said, plug and play, which means it's also the measure for remote regions where you cannot build something around, but where you need a box to come to be installed and to serve small villages. When we address the market not only for bringing an environmental friendly product. We first of all address our markets, which is mainly the emerging markets like Brazil, India, China, and Indonesia, which means those countries where you have large proportions of the population without electricity, but also those markets which will become industrialized nations over the next 20 years and which will become the top 10 of the industrialized nations. So if you go to these markets, the first question that will always be asked is, what is the price? You can be as environmentally friendly as you want to be. If you cannot be price competitive, you are out of the game. So for us, it's really the most important thing, and we did that by target costing, to be less expensive, specifically per kilowatt hour, than our most important competitor, which is the diesel genset. The diesel genset is normally the first choice for decentralized electrification in remote areas. So what we have done is we always targeted the diesel genset, and we said we want to be at certain water speeds less expensive than the diesel genset. What you see here is that depending on the amortization period of the unit, we are, with average water speeds, less expensive than our most important competitor. How does that look like, such an installation? These are photos after so much talking all over the day, and I think I'm one of the last to present. I think you deserve some photos. So this is an installation in Peru. We brought the turbine with a boat to Peru, and we installed it together with the people, which is really important if you come to install something in remote areas, that you integrate the people who are living there. The other part that you see there on the photo is that it's possible to implement the technology in whatever region. So it's possible to assemble a simple unit that generates electricity also under the conditions of the Congo or Peru or Canada, so it's a global product. People can touch it, people can help during the installation process, which gives you also the guarantee that this technology is something that is integrated into the normal life of people wherever they live. It's a relatively simple technology. You transfer mechanical energy into electrical energy. This is what such a small unit at the end of the day does. It's simple to install, and you can even do that with the most remote measures that you can think about. 2 boats and a simple pulley system, which is very much handmade in the village. I said you deserve some photos, but actually I'm not really here to show you some photos only. The point is that as clean tech startup company, we are trying to address those markets that will be growing in the future. We do not believe, as smart hydropower, that the subsidized markets in Europe and sometimes in the US are really the main markets of the future. A country like Indonesia, where today up to 45% of the population do not have any access to electricity, in 2040 will be one of the 10 most important industrialized nations. And what we are trying to achieve is be part of that process and bring those people that are working here into the ability not only to install a turbine, but to make electricity generated from such a turbine productive for their lives, and thereby participate in the development process of their countries. Thank you.
I want to ask you, how much does it cost, one of these turbines, more or less, in euro?
It's installed 15K in most of the countries. It always depends somehow of import taxes, it depends on transportation, but it's around 15K installed in the country.
And you manufacture them here and then you ship them over, or you can partly manufacture them in the target country?
At the moment, we are manufacturing only in Germany. We do have agreements in Indonesia and Brazil and Peru to manufacture there, to assemble there, and we are able to partly also manufacture parts of the turbine in these countries. So we are able to bring not only the turbine, which means electricity, to these countries, but also kind of training programs, workshops, and partly also work to these countries, which makes it very attractive also for large, governments to look for this technology, because it's not a technology that comes exclusively from Germany. It will be a technology that is hecho do Brasil, made in Indonesia, or hecho in Peru.
And you are a High-Tech Gründerfonds portfolio company?
That's right.
And are you looking for funding in the future?
We hope to close around in the next 2 or 3 weeks, and I hope that one of the managing partners tonight will drink a beer with me.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you very much.